When you think of European city breaks, places like Paris, Rome, Barcelona probably come to mind. But what if I told you that there's a capital city that's cheaper, less touristy, and is still full of history? That's right, Albania isn't the first place that people think of when they think of booking a European city break.
But should it be?
If you've been following the channel, then you would know that I've recently been to the capital city, Tirana, from these videos here. And if you didn't know that,
Then you should.
subscribe now, don't miss any more videos, and you know what, go back and watch all of my previous videos, especially these two Albania ones, because they link to this video. But is Tirana actually worth visiting? Well, in this video, I'm going to be going through a range of topics, including things to see and do, the food scene, affordability, safety, where to stay, and my overall thoughts. So let's get right into the video. My first impressions of Tirana, it's quite colourful and chaotic. It doesn't feel like a typical European capital. There's no grand skyline or ancient ruins at every turn, but yet it has its unique charm. It's full of energy, seemingly good people, and interesting buildings. You'll have communist era concrete right next to a pink and yellow bright apartment building. It doesn't pretend to be perfect or hide from its history, but that's what makes it interesting. Tirana's attractions are quite different and memorable. Of course, you have the iconic Skanderberg Square, which is the central heart of the city, basically, where you have so many different things, ranging from museums, the opera house, to famous religious buildings, and even right round the corner you have the Bunkart 2 museum, which is the one that I went to. There is another one, but it's slightly further out. We went to Bunkart 2, which is essentially an underground bunker turned into a museum from the Cold War. It's quite
Dark and eerie.
and, to be honest, quite fascinating to learn about some of Albania's communist history. If it's a bright, beautiful view that you're after, then there is also a cable car that'll take you right up to the top of one of the nearest mountains, which will provide you with some of the best views that you'll get in Albania. And to be honest, that's one thing that struck me about Albania, is just how beautiful it is. Like, one thing that I definitely recommend is heading to the Grand Park. It has buskers, bars, and a lovely lake that you can sit by. And to be honest, it's a great way to spend a couple of hours. So basically, yeah, you're not going to be short of things to do. Oh, here we go, my favourite section, food. Albanian cuisine is actually quite a hidden gem. It has an absolutely thriving cafe and bar culture. Nearly every road that you go down will be full of lovely cafes, restaurants and bars. And pretty much everything that we tried, we enjoyed. We actually went to the top 3 rated restaurants in the entire city, which you can see here. I'll put a link to the video in the description below, because I recommend all 3 of those restaurants. But not just food, they also have a really good selection of bars to enjoy a cocktail or two. One of our favourites was called the Millennium Garden, so I would definitely check that out. The cocktails are really good, and if it's a sunny day or a sunny evening, then most of it is outdoors, so you'll still be able to enjoy the sun. A popular hub for food and drink is Tirana Castle, which is actually near where Millennium Garden is. The castle itself is actually medieval castle grounds with a castle wall going around it, but obviously the castle itself isn't there anymore, and it's basically just full of restaurants and bars. So it's definitely worth checking that one out. As well as the castle, you also have the Bloku district, which is a short walk away and is actually next to the pyramid. Yes, Tirana has its own pyramid, which also itself has cafes and stuff dotted around the pyramid, so that's another place you can go, as well as the Bloku district right next to it. And the Bloku district is very well known for having lots of bars and cafes and restaurants. And that brings us nicely to where to stay. There are many good options of where to stay depending on what your focus is, to be honest. If you want to spend most of your time doing the touristy things like museums, etc., then I would recommend staying closer to the main square. Like I said earlier, that's where a lot of those types of attractions are, and there will still be a good range of restaurants and bars for you to find. However, if you are a bit more of a socialite and would love to spend a lot of your time in the cafes, bars and restaurants, then I would definitely recommend the Bloku district. It's got a little bit more of a lively nightlife, And it's definitely the place to be as well if you want to spend more of your time at the park, because that's closer to the park side of the city rather than the square. We ended up going there multiple times. You can walk it from where the square is, but it's about a 30-minute walk or so, depending on, you know, how quick you are. Everything within the city, to be honest, is walkable. But for the perfect location, you could find somewhere in between these two places, and then you'll have the best of both worlds. To see the two places that we stayed in, go and check out the cheap versus expensive video. I'll link that one in the description as well. Transport in Tirana is easy, to be honest, because it's mostly walking. If you're comfortable getting your steps in, then you will have no problem getting around Tirana. All of the key areas are walkable. Getting into the city from the airport is extremely easy. They have a bus that runs every hour and it was just £4 per person. So very cheap, very accessible, and with it running every hour, that's what I would recommend. And also it drops you right off at the square. Okay, so due to its economic position, it's a bit more of a developing country, slightly poorer than, you know, your bigger Western European countries, and it has a fairly recent turbulent past. And because of that, Albania is considered by some people
Unsafe to travel.
However, that is not the case. I felt very safe in the capital and we didn't come across any trouble the entire time that we were there. Everybody seemed pretty friendly and welcoming, and to be honest, I think that the negative connotations surrounding Albania is fake news.
We are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake.
I actually felt safer there than I would walking through London, so... But that being said, everywhere does have worse areas and better areas. And I suppose a lot of the touristy places that we were in would be safer than maybe some of the further out districts of Tirana. I don't know the, you know, police reports or anything to do with crime, so I can't say too much. But all of the areas where you'll want to be in are absolutely fine. The one thing that I will say though is be careful when you're exchanging money. I experienced a potential scam at the airport.
Why did you redeem it? Why did you redeem it?
I didn't read into it too much, but essentially the clerk at the money exchange desk potentially, all right, but potentially it could be an accident, or it might not be, marked my pounds down as euros, and due to the currency differences, it resulted in me pretty much immediately losing £40. So, you know, not ideal. So just to be sure that you keep an eye out and double check your money as soon as you get it. But like I say, it could have been a genuine accident, but you can't be too sure. So just make sure you double check what they're putting your pounds or dollars or wherever you're coming from. Just make sure they're using the correct currency. However, where Tirana really shines is for the budget lovers. It's one of the cheapest capital cities in Europe, and even very nice meals out, unless you're drinking multiple like cocktails and things like that, you know, if you just had one drink or two, you could easily feed two people for £30 to £50, and that would be seen as quite a pricey meal in a nice restaurant. And it doesn't stop at food either. The accommodation, transport, entertainment, it's all very reasonable. Of course, accommodation can vary, but even the most expensive 5-star hotels in the best locations, you know, you can spend around £150 a night, which when you compare that to other cities, it's incredibly good value. But there are also many more affordable options as well. So, is Tirana worth visiting? For me, absolutely. It's different, fascinating, budget friendly, it's full of stories, great food, and a lovely atmosphere. It might not be love at first sight, but if you give it a chance, it might surprise you and you might get hooked. All right, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you've been there and what you thought of it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. That would really help me out, and you'll see where I'm going next. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.